Hello everyone, Ryan here. So I recently read The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel, and I did receive a copy of this, a signed copy, from the author herself, also via what's called the Review Chain. Review Chain is a program that was started by, I guess you could say, fellow book bloggers, booktubers, most notably, I believe, one of the founding members is, her name's Olivia, if I'm not mistaken, Olivia Savannah. But if you want to find out more about the Review Chain, I'll provide a link to the site down below. So this is Tiffany McDaniel's debut novel, and I gotta say, I really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had read a lot of good reviews before reading it. I read a lot of good reviews on Goodreads, and it's definitely very interesting. It's a very multi-layered story. I believe to classify it as YA, as a YA novel, that's really not, to me, I feel like that's really not doing it justice. If I were to compare the writing style, Tiffany McDaniel's writing style, to other more familiar authors, I guess, I would say her writing style definitely reminds me of kind of like a mix of Mark Twain, William Faulkner, trying to think who else. Pretty much any other, a lot of, I guess you say, Southern writers. Reminds me of a lot of Southern writers, I guess, you know. I mean, not that I'm saying that that she writes exactly like Mark Twain or William Faulkner, but I can definitely, the whole time I was reading it, I definitely noticed a little bit of Faulkner influence, Mark Twain influence. So, but I don't know, that's just me. And also too, even though the bulk of the story, it's supposed to take place in Ohio, the main character, or rather main protagonist, is Fielding Bliss. And Fielding Bliss is an interesting character. All the characters throughout this are very interesting. Essentially what it is Fielding Bliss's father, when his father, which by the way, his father's name is Autopsy Bliss, which is a very cool name. I mean, I think, you know, if I ever get the chance to name another pet or or name, I mean, I don't know if I ever have kids of my own someday. I don't. I feel like the name Autopsy is definitely a very cool name, very unique name. Of course, the reason behind it is explained pretty much within the first couple or so chapters. But so, anyways, I didn't mean to digress there. So his father, when his father was a boy, he wrote this like open letter to the devil, in which he invited the devil to come visit him in his hometown, Breath, Ohio. And I believe it's Breathe. Well, it's spelled like Breathe, Breathed, but it's pronounced differently. I think it's pronounced more like Breath, Ohio. It's supposed to be a small town in Ohio. So yeah, his father writes this open letter to the devil, and then some years later, his once his father is already grown and already has his own family, this boy by the name of Sal visits the town, and he claims to be the devil. And then, of course, he doesn't really prove to anybody that he actually is the devil. But at the same time, he is very knowledgeable about a lot of spiritual things, philosophical things. He's got a lot of a very keen insight into existence and the human condition, which I gotta say, for me, I feel like I just assumed in the beginning, it did kind of seem like Sal was just, you know, pulling everyone's leg, and he He kind of seemed like he just wanted attention, like a lot of little kids, especially kids who I guess you could say never really get enough attention from their own parents or family. But again, like I said before, the fact that he's so knowledgeable about a lot of different things it actually made me wonder too that it was possible that maybe he really was the devil who just happened to be inhabiting the body of this young boy. Of course, it's never really made clear as to whether he is or isn't. But there are some. I don't want to give away too many details. But there are some things that he does that definitely sways the reader one way or the other. So, yeah, and I really liked all the characters. I feel like all the characters throughout this book they're very well developed, but that might also be attributed mostly to the writing style, because Tiffany McDaniel's writing style, like I said before, reminds me of various Southern writers, Southern authors, and really, I would say I've never really seen. Again, like I said before, I could really see how she was influenced by other writers, authors such as Mark Twain or William Faulkner, but also her writing style to me seems pretty unique. I mean, the way she describes certain objects or certain emotions, and it's really I've yet to read any other novel by any other author that describes objects or emotions or people, places in quite the same way. I don't know how else to describe it, but if you've read it, I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't read it, I do recommend reading it. The story itself is really great, and of course, once Sal shows up in the town of Breath, Ohio, he's taken in by the Bliss family. Fielding Bliss's parents take him in and pretty much adopt him as their own. For a while, they considered him to be their third son. Of course, Fielding Bliss also has an older brother named Grand, and Grand is this, I guess you could say, supposed to be kind of like a very I don't know how to describe him. He's like that one person in every family that people are always proud of. People always like talking about, the particular person's accomplishments or whatever it is he happens to be involved in. So Gran is like this. At the beginning of the story, Gran is this like all-star American baseball hero person, or very athletic, very charming. And later on, I like how it starts, because later on, I like that the character of Grand does go through some very interesting things. Again, I don't want to give away too many details, but trust me when I say he goes through a lot of interesting things. A lot of interesting things happen to him, and he pretty much is forced, somewhat forced to allow his true self to come out to show. And that's pretty much how it is for all the characters. Even the main character, Fielding Bliss, and his parents, Fielding Bliss's aunt, neighbors, everyone in the town. It's, again, I don't know how else I can't really divulge a lot, but other than just, all I have to say is it's very well written, characters very well developed. The latter half of the novel is definitely very heart-wrenching. There's a lot of stuff that I wasn't expecting some that I was. I mean, such as, I mean, I'll go ahead and say, like, some of the bad people, they get what's coming to them. I mean, naturally you would expect that. But also, too, other stuff happens to some very good people that, to me, I felt like was very undeserved. But I mean, I don't know, maybe that's ultimately what the author, Tiffany McDaniel, maybe that's what she was trying to convey, to get across ultimately that, you know, life is about both spectrums. It's about both good and bad coexisting, and unfortunately, too often, sometimes, you know, bad wins out over good. Also, sometimes good wins out over bad. But, you know, depending on which spectrum, which side we focus on the most, that ultimately determines how we deal with each other, how we deal with this thing that we call life. I don't know. I might be reading a little too much into that, but that's how I feel. That's how I interpret it. Ultimately, you know, to me, it's very interesting. A lot of very important philosophical points are made. So, yeah. Do I recommend reading this? I do. I definitely recommend reading it. I believe everybody should read this at least once. Overall, I give it 5 stars. Definitely 5 stars. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. Also, too, I mean, Tiffany McDaniel, thank you for sending me this autographed copy. Thank you to the awesome people who have started the review chain. Took me a while to get through this, but I finally did. I wanted to take my time with it. There's those rare few books that I like to really take my time with, because then I know once I've finished with them, then that's it. And yeah, in fact, I would say this is definitely one of those books that I look forward to rereading at some point in the near future. I don't know exactly when, but so yeah. Again, thanks to the author for sending me this. Thanks to the review chain. I give it 5 stars all the way. Definitely recommend reading it. And that'll do it for this review. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And thank you everybody who is currently subscribed. I do appreciate it. So until next time, as always, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.